Hey guys, it's Marina with Artworthy Life, where I teach art journaling that gets you into God's Word every day, and I also teach paint parties. So I really love every once in a while to incorporate some acrylic paint into my page here over at Artworthy Life. So I hope you guys are going to really enjoy this one. Now you can see this is already kind of painted on, and this is because it was from a prior paint party. It was an unfinished painting. I used it for some demonstration, but I didn't finish it because I didn't need to. I had some other things that I was working on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to turn this into some St. Patrick's Day decor that you guys might like to have for the upcoming holiday. Now I'm going to make sure I'm not echoing because I'm still getting used to this new format. So let me just make sure. Okay, can you guys tell me that I'm not echoing? Just make sure I sound normal. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the page. That way I can see your comments. Hi, Bonnie. Oh, I can see Bonnie's comment. Yay. Wonderful. Hi again. Awesome. Okay, and now Bonnie, am I echoey or do I sound okay? Thank you guys for being so patient with me as I'm getting used to this. Now I want to go ahead and get started with some Bible reading. Bonnie says I'm not echoing. Yay, that's awesome. Okay, good. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with some Bible reading. And I just want to do a quick verse from the passage we just read in our Artworthy Journal Club. We've been going through the book of John, and there's a great verse here that I think is a good reminder for us. It's in John 5:16 through 18. So verse 16 through 18. It says, "And therefore did the Jews persecute Jesus and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. It was after he healed on the Sabbath. But Jesus answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God." I just love the phrase that Jesus says there, "My Father worketh hitherto, and I work." There's a song in our hymn books that's "Here am I, Lord, send me," basically reminding us that God put us on this earth to glorify his name. We have work to be doing. And so Jesus is basically saying, my Father is working, so I'm working. He said when he was younger, when he was found in the temple as a child, don't you know that I would be about my Father's business? That was his whole mission in life, was to be about his Father's business. So I think it's really cool that he kind of said a similar thing to the Jews as well. It just is a reminder that we have work to be doing. We have work to be doing, and Jesus is working, God is working, so we ought also to be working. Anyway, such a great verse. I hope that was a good reminder for you guys. And we'll go ahead and get started on this St. Patrick's Day decor. So what I did is, this is, like I said, it's an unfinished painting that I didn't really need to work on anymore, and I have a finished painting that looks like this. So I sanded this off with some let's see, this is 220 grit sandpaper, just to kind of smooth it out. And this wood is already kind of uneven or whatever, so I didn't need it to be perfect. And then I just wiped it down. A lot of times I'll wipe it down with wet towels, but it wasn't too bad, so I just wiped it down with a clean dry towel. And I have some chalk paints here that I'm going to try out using today. I really like the Waverly chalk paints. I don't know if you guys have ever used them before. They just have a really cool matte finish. They're chalky. So they kind of have this cool matte finish. And I have a whole bunch of different colors. I also love the Waverly ones because they come in colors that are satisfying to me. A lot of them are very soft and muted and faded colors. I'm sure they have brighter colors as well, but I like their colors. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I like to distress the wood a little bit. You can use wood stain to do this, but a lot of times I'll just do it with paint because I have paint on hand and it's easier. I'm trying to look at people's comments. If you haven't commented yet, tell me how you are doing and if you like this new format where you can see my hands and you can see my face at the same time. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay and everything is looking good. All right, so I have my handy dandy jars of water over here, and actually I don't have my little tub. Let me grab a tub that I can use. I'll grab a couple of them. I have these little cups. You can grab whatever cups you have nearby. Sometimes I forget to grab them. I haven't done acrylic in a long time, so I have to remember, okay, what supplies do I actually need? Hey, Valerie, I'm so glad you're on. How can you see well now? How's it going? Can you see okay now? All right, so what we're going to do is grab a little bit of water. And because this is wood, this will work really well. If you were on canvas, it wouldn't work as well. Say hello to my sidekick. She wants to play. She's just, what's going on, girl? I think she actually heard somebody at the door or something, and she's scared that they're going to come up and get her. Poor baby. Okay. She's just sitting there like that. Silly girl. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add some water to this little tub. And I add just a little bit of water. I just kind of dip my paintbrush in this jar. Let me move the jar so you guys can actually see. And I have a size, this is 3/4 inch brush. A 1-inch brush works great. And I just add a little bit of water to that. And then I'm going to grab brown and black and white, kind of a combination of colors. So I just add a little bit of brown to this to give it some color. Add a little bit of brown to my little water mixture. And then I'm going to add the black. This brown is called Truffle by Waverly. This black is called Ink. Any black you have will work fine. I don't even know if there's any black in here. I might have to grab my other black. Oh, no, there's just enough. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going for is a very, very cocoa, coffee, really black color. Valerie says she can see everything just fine. It was the pencil lines which were invisible. Okay. Hopefully after I darkened them, you will be able to see them better. Sorry about that, Valerie. Thanks so much for sticking with it anyway. So we were just live within the Art Worthy Journal Club and learning how to use lighting so that the ladies can see my demonstrations. It's very interesting to try to figure out lighting when you are trying to keep your pencil lines light. It doesn't work so well. So we figured that out. So basically I'm going for a very gray brown. That's why I'm adding so much black. And then I'm going to add a lot of water to it and basically create a stain. That's what I'm going for. And I've already kind of done it to this wood, so I don't really need to do it that much more. But I just wanted you guys to know how I get that effect. And I'm going to go ahead and go across this flower as well, even though it's basically paint, so it's not going to take it the same way that the wood would. The wood would. But it'll help to cover it so that when I go to do the next layer, it won't be as dark. So I'm just going to go across this and on the edges. And because it's watered down, it's not going to fully cover, which is the idea. I do want to get all the sides though. So make sure when you're painting, you do get the sides of everything. That's very important to making the piece look finished. That really helps. And then this chocolatey kind of grayish brown doesn't end up looking crazy warm. And if you're going for a distressed look, if your color that you're using is too warm, meaning it has too much red in it or too much yellow or orange in it, it won't look as distressed. If you think about driftwood or like a really old piece of barn wood, it ends up looking more gray than anything else. So you do want the brown in there because I don't really like gray wood, like totally gray wood, unless it really is driftwood. But so I like a little bit of brown, but then you do have to kind of make it a little bit more gray black. You have to add some black to it. So you add a bunch of water and you add a bunch of black, and that kind of takes away that super warm color. It also will take away the yellow color that's already in the wood. So like you can see how yellow this wood was originally. And I don't love the look of raw yellow wood. I don't think I've never really liked that orangey color. And so that kind of takes that away too, which is nice if you're not a big fan of that, like I'm not. Okay, let's see. Do I see anybody else's comments? Have you guys ever done holiday decor for St. Patrick's Day? Is that like a holiday in your house? I was just talking to somebody within the Art Worthy Journal Club. I think it might have been Anita. I'm not sure. I think it was, who was saying, and then somebody else I was talking to said they didn't really decorate or do anything for St. Patrick's Day, which I guess makes sense because it's not like the biggest holiday that's out there, but it's weird to me because, guys, look at my last name. If you guys don't know, my last name is Irish, and it was a huge holiday in our house. Like, okay, maybe we didn't always like do everything, like everything on that holiday, but it was always a recognized holiday in our house. It did not go by without being recognized. We wore green. Sometimes I would forget to wear green, but I always said I bleed green because of my name. But we would have Lucky Charms in the morning. We did not miss that holiday. Let's just put it that way. We'd have some kind of a something on that day. And so it's funny to me when I hear others because I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It's really not that big of a holiday for some people, but it's weird to me because I'm so used to it being a big holiday for me. So with a name like Irish, that holiday does not get overlooked. So what do you guys do for St. Patrick's Day? If you do anything, you guys should tell me. We a lot of times would have Lucky Charms, which we never had super sugary cereal growing up. Like Mom would give us the healthy cereal, which we actually liked, so that was nice. But we'd like go to Trader Joe's or something and get the really good cereal. Or if we had Cheerios, we had the not honey nut ones, like the plain ones, and then Mom would put real honey on top of it or whatever. So having Lucky Charms was actually like a super big treat. And then sometimes we would make, we learned this later, we would make Rice Krispie treats with the Lucky Charms, with Lucky Charms. Like I don't know how you say that, but anyway, so that the little marshmallows are in the Rice Krispie. So good. Anyway, not so good for you, but it was good. And then Mom would have a blast looking through the Irish socks. My mom is a big sock buyer. She loves socks. You guys like fun socks and things like that? She would go to the discount section like at Walmart or Michael's or whatever. You know, Michael's sells socks, or is it Michael's or Joann's? I think Joann's. They would have all this fun socks a lot of times, and she would buy fancy Valentine's socks and fancy Christmas socks. So we'd always end up with holiday socks. It was pretty funny. Okay, so next, after you've distressed it, it'll start to kind of dry on its own, but I like to rub a towel over it, and that pulls off just a little bit of that paint, and it gives it kind of this streaky look. I actually noticed just now that there is a little bit of paint here that I don't want to show, so I'm gonna sand that down a little. There's like a little spot of paint there, so I'm gonna sand that down a little bit. Oops. And you can do that if you need to. The nice thing about wood, you can sand it. You don't have to just paint over it, which is nice. And I just grab a scrap rag or whatever towel and just rub it across there. I'm gonna fill that back in where I just sanded, so take a little bit more of this and fill that in. And then the other nice thing about rubbing it with the rag, drying it a little bit, is that it dries it, and so that you can start with the next step really easily. Okay, so what I want to do now is paint a big clover. I think that'll be fun. I'm not seeing comments right now. If you guys are commenting, make sure you say hello, because I want to see you guys, and I want to make sure my broadcast is also working. So if you can see me, say hey, and I'll see if I can see you guys. Let's see if I can see it. Let me check. Thanks as you're bearing with me with this technology. It's sometimes fun to try to learn something new. Okay, I think I'm seeing all the comments. Oh, Leslie Ann says hi. Okay, I think I can see you guys. All right, good. All right, I'm seeing, where did I go? Yeah, it's very interesting to learn because I'm not really the most techie person in the house. And so to have all this stuff that I'm learning is really fun. Okay, I think I just like lost my page where I was. Anyway, I think, oh, there I am. Okay, good. I think I can see. Oh, Jackie said hi. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Leslie. Oh, good. I'm so glad I can see both of you guys. All right, that makes me feel better. Thank you. Thank you for commenting. All right, I'm going to actually take some white and go back over this because I like for it not to look too dark. Let's see. Do I have any white in here? I don't have very much white in here. I'm going to use this one. This one's called Plaster by Waverly. And so the same concept. Whoopsies. Same concept. I'm going to take a clean brush and a little bit of water and go into a new cup and just take a little bit of white. Do I have any? I've been trying to use this paint up, so I may have used the white up. Let me grab a different white. I have a big jug of white right here that I love because it makes a good paint. Now this one's actually a mixture of two whites. So it is probably, I think it's a mixture of the Craft Smart acrylic and this folk art home decor chalk because I needed to thicken up my acrylic paint a little bit, so I added some chalk paint to it. So that's what it is. Nothing special, but mostly just white. Okay, then I'm going to take this white, water it down a lot. Make sure I don't have little bits of paint across my painting. And then I'm going to lighten up this board just a little bit so it's not overly dark. We don't want it crazy dark. I'll also add another layer of shading and kind of distressed look. We'll just add a little bit. And you notice I'm always going with the wood grain. So going with the wood grain and not like crossways against it. That's very important if you're going to make it come out neat and clean. Okay, so after I get that on, that'll just lighten it up a little bit. I think there's a really dark spot right there. Okay. And then I'm also bringing my brush strokes from the edge of the wood across instead of like starting in the middle. And I'm just going to take my towel now and rub that across again. And you'll see how that creates like a distressed, almost driftwood color, which is what we're going for. It starts to look like old barn wood. And I kind of add a little, rub it a little, add a little, rub it a little, see how it looks, do it again until I feel like, okay, that's what I was going for. Sometimes you can add just a little bit of black back in. I'm going to add a little bit of black on this edge because it's not as dark over here. And then just rub that across. That really, the rubbing pushes it into the wood too. You can get a good effect that way. All right, so that's what we're going for. Like that. And now we're going to do a really fun little clover. I'm going to put the clover over this flower. Obviously, this flower needs to be replaced by something. So I'm going to put the clover over that. So first I'm going to just pencil it out. Let's see. Do I have a pencil? I know I have one somewhere. There's one. Okay. Oh, I need to make sure you guys can see that angle. Okay. Super, super full table here. All right, so I'm going to try to make the clover. I'm going to do the 3-leaf clover because I want to emphasize the Trinity. So if you guys don't already know, this is my basic knowledge of St. Patrick, but he was not Irish himself. He was a missionary to Ireland. Where did I put my eraser? Sorry, guys, I'm looking for my eraser. There it is. You get enough craft supplies on the table, you're like, I can't find a thing. So he was a missionary to Ireland, and that's why the holiday is all about Irish. But I seem to think he was from England. Am I right about that, you guys? Somebody can Google that for me. But anyway, he was a missionary to Ireland and did a lot of work bringing the gospel to the Irish people. And I'm sure you guys know, but one of the things he was known for was using the clover as a way to preach the gospel. And he would use that clover shape as an illustration of the three persons of God. So God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, that they're all part of one, they're all one person. And we really can't explain how that works because it's a God thing. It's a lot bigger than I think our brains can handle. But that's what he would use. And so that's why you see so many clovers in St. Patrick's Day decor. It's just a big part of how he shared the gospel there. I don't even know if he did that like a lot or if it was like on one occasion. I wish we knew more about that. I don't know the full story, but anyway, I think it's very cool that my last name is Irish because we've always had lots of Irish decor. And it didn't really matter if it was St. Patrick's Day. We were already decorated for the holiday. So we have a wall. If you guys have ever been to our house, some of you guys have been to our house. We have a wall coming into our house full of Irish decor because people see it and they bring it to us. We got some Irish decor as a housewarming gift. Every St. Patrick's Day, we seem to pick something else up because it's just like when you see something that says Irish and your name is Irish, you end up taking it home. It's just like really hard not to buy. And so we have this big wall that says Irish on it, which I think is really fun. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little clover here. And this flower back here in the background is not really, it's not hindering my painting right now. So I'm going to paint the clover and see how it looks with that stuff in the background. I might actually go ahead and do, let me see if I can do some, a little bit more of a layer of brown back there. Just going to see if I can go like that. Okay, I can still see my clover that I've just drawn. So I'm just going to put a little bit more black just so that so it's not super dark right there. And then I'll add some white in there. That'll cover that up even more so, hopefully. And so if you have a painting that you're not super happy with, feel free to paint over it. It's not that way it's not a waste. And then you can be happy with whatever you've painted again. But I do also encourage you to just sit back and look at your painting before you decide to paint over it, because a lot of times you'll finish and you're like, oh, it's not what I wanted. And then you walk away and come back like a day later and you're like, oh, that's kind of cute. I like it. I think I'll keep it. So don't like paint over it the same day if you're not happy with it. Just wait. And then if you really, really aren't happy with it, make something you're happy with. That's what I think is fun. I was happy with this one. It just wasn't finished, and I already have one that's finished. So I thought I will just paint over this one and make a St. Patrick's Day decor. All right, so that worked really well. I think that covered up a little bit more of it. And that's going to dry here in a minute. So I'm going to start with celery. I'm going to start with celery. How about we start with our vegetables? This is a Waverly chalk paint as well. It's very light in color. And I will say, I bought this moss. It's called moss. And I bought celery. And they are so similar in color that, oops, can you guys see this one? Okay. I need to like somehow bring this closer so you're not so far away. I think that'll work. So I bought moss and celery, and I would suggest you buy one or the other. Because if you lighten moss, you end up with basically the celery color. And if you darken celery, you basically end up with the moss color. So I felt like it was a waste to get two different shades of green. Even though they look like they're going to be very different, I thought it was just fine to go ahead and get one or the other. I think it'll work just fine. Okay, so the thing is, I actually was planning to put this in my bathroom, which has a lot of teal decor. So I like the idea of having something teal on this. So I may incorporate some teal into this, or like light blue of some kind. But I'm gonna see how it goes with this moss first, and then we'll decide. I haven't really worked out totally. It's always a if you don't have a blank canvas, you always have to just kind of see how things go. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint these little clover shapes, and they're just hearts. I'm sure you guys know clover is 3 hearts put together. So I can just paint the base of those with this moss. I'm going straight from the cup. I will say, be very careful with your chalk paints if you guys use chalk paint at all, because they do not stay moist. I guess just the nature of chalk paint, it's meant to be more dry. So they will dry out like that if you're not careful. So I'm taking it right out of the tub, but if I was going to be using this for any length of time, I would just put some out on a plate, because they dry up so fast. You can waste paint that way. They'll get caked up on the sides. I was working on some Christmas items, and that happened. It was just like, wow, these get dried up so fast, and they'll cake up on your paintbrushes and stuff. So don't let them just sit. That's a great way to lose a lot of paint if you let them sit. I'm using a big brush. I don't actually need to be using this 3/4 inch brush, but it paints faster. You could use a smaller brush if you wanted to, a size 8 round or something like that. But this one paints faster, and so I'm all about efficiency if I can. I'm going to just give that a fun little curvy heart shape. I don't want them to be too stiff looking. So just do a little curvy heart shape. You know, do you guys look for 4-leaf clovers? I don't believe in like the luck part of it, but we like to look for them because there's like some kind of a statistic on how many would be in a patch of clovers. So like I know some people that can just go and grab clovers, and my Nana was one of them. She said, oh, you can just look, and if you look long enough, you'll find one. I never knew she could do that until like the last years of her life. And she just walks out to this clover patch and picks up she tells me, yeah, if you just like look, there's going to be at least one in this certain amount of space. And I thought, no way. But so I looked and looked and looked and looked as a kid and didn't find it. But then like a year ago or something, we were out in Tennessee, and my peepaw has a bunch of clover up. My peepaw is my mom's dad. That's what we call him. Yes, I know. It's unique. But anyway, he has a bunch of clover up by his house. He lives in the Tennessee hills, the hills of Tennessee. And I was thinking about my Nana, and it was really interesting because that thought popped in my mind of when she had found that clover. And I thought, that is so interesting that I would think of that right now. And I looked down and I thought, I'll just like briefly look for a clover. I'm not going to find a 4-leaf clover. It's not going to happen. And I looked down and I found a 4-leaf clover. And I was like, ah, guys, I found a 4-leaf clover. Like I just looked and like in 3 minutes, I found a 4-leaf clover. It was so weird. And I thought it was funny that I would think of that and then just look down and there's a 4-leaf clover. So weird. It wasn't like immediate, but I just kind of looked for a little while and sure enough found one. I thought that is so strange that I would just find a clover all of a sudden. Very weird. Very weird. Okay, so because the background of this is so distressed looking, I don't think it's going to matter that you can kind of see the flower behind it. I think it'll look kind of interesting and fun. I am going to paint a little stem. I'm going to use the flat edge of this brush and just bring the stem down like that. And then use that flat edge to kind of make all the hearts meet up. That'll be kind of cute. So that looks really sweet and fun. And now I'm just gonna let that start to dry some. And I need to clean my brush and, like I said, put the cap on the paint because they will dry out super fast if you're not careful. Leslie Ann has an appointment. I was going to say enjoy your appointment, but I don't know if it's a good appointment. So I hope your appointment goes well. God bless your appointment. Thanks for watching, Leslie Ann. That was really fun to have you on. Okay, now while this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and write my little phrase on here. And I want it to say Irish blessing. Where did I put my white? Okay, I'm going to use this white paint. I want it to say Irish blessing. So I'm going to pour a little bit of white paint into a tub. Whoa, not too much, hopefully. And I'm going to use the size 8 round. Well, could use a smaller brush, I guess. Let me see if I can grab my smaller brush. That might be better. We'll see how it goes depending on the texture of the paint. So sometimes I use a bigger brush because it has a nice pointy tip, and then I can make those thicker lines. Hi, Twyla, how are you? I'm glad to see you on. Welcome. So we're doing acrylic paint today. Pretty fun. So I was just saying, I like to grab a bigger brush sometimes. Sometimes it makes it faster and easier. But I'm just going to do some script, brush script font. Ooh, I almost want to do it this way. What do you guys think about this way? Ooh, I think I changed my mind. I'm going to do my painting going long ways. Won't that be cute? Okay, so I'm going to do, let's see if I can fit it all in there. But I think I'm going to say, I'm going to just freehand this, I-R-I-S-H, I-R-I-S-H. Let me make sure I can fit all that, I-R-I-S-H, so the I is going to be center. So a lot of times when I'm writing stuff, especially freehand, I'll start at the center because the center is more, because I want to center it up. So I'll start with the center letter, or whatever letter is going to sit right in the center. And then I'll do the others. So I'm doing thick down strokes and thin up strokes as much as I possibly can. It's going to be a little interesting because it's freehand, so probably won't be perfect, but I'll end up with some Irish decor before the holiday. Ish. It's ish right now. Just ish. Okay, and then I'm going to do the R next. That'll make sure we can, this also makes sure you don't run out of room. If you tend to write and then you end up with all your letters squished at the end, try starting in the middle. It really helps me. Oops, I need to make that R a little bigger. And then you'll notice sometimes when I'm doing lettering, I make the center of the letter either be higher than usual or lower than usual. So like this R is, the bubble is lower, it comes down lower than it should, and this little H is higher. That just makes it kind of cute. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Hey, Katie. Oh, Mom loves the dual picture. Valerie likes. Oh, how am I not seeing these comments? I thought I was seeing all of the comments. I'm sorry, I'm catching up. Let's see. Twyla says, yes. Valerie says, Twyla says, I was scared a minute. That is a great tip, starting in the middle. Did it scare you? That's funny. That is hilarious. Okay, so anyway, but yes, having the letters a little off, like having the top a little higher or the bottom a little lower, just like having the middle what am I trying to say? Have the center of your letter go up or down. That makes your lettering really cute. Actually, Katie, it seems to me you covered that. Somebody said something about that in your lettering thing. You've been doing some lettering too. But yeah, it definitely, like, you can make them skinny and make the top really tall, and it's really cute. Okay, let's see. I want to make the eye the same distance from the other side. That's funny. Okay. You guys are making me laugh. I'm still laughing about the Twyla being scared. That's so funny. I guess it would be scary if you didn't know what I was gonna do. So that could freak you out a little bit. All right. Hey, Mama. Alrighty. Okay, so Twyla said curve it like the shamrock. Can you tell me what you meant? Did you mean the lettering, or... Oh, you mean actually have the words curve? That would be cute, wouldn't it? I think I like it like this, and it's going to have to be like that since I just did it. But that would be a really cute idea. If you paint one, you should show us a picture. I'm going to make these a little thicker because I can tell they look a little, I don't know, they look shorter than the others somehow. So I'm just going to go like that. Now I'm going to do the word blessing, but I'm going to practice it first because I don't want the first time I've done it to be on this wood. So what I'm going to do is take the wood over here on this piece of brown paper that I have here. Actually, I'll do it on my white paper. Well, no, I'll do it on the brown. So I'll go like this and trace out the wood. That'll give me a little guideline. So I have these little guidelines right there that I can use. Now I'm going to practice this word blessing in calligraphy. And I'm going to use this thin brush. Okay. Can you guys still see me? Oh, or blessing can be curved. Yeah. Katie says, I love the idea of covering up a painting I didn't like. I have a few of those that I've done. So have I. I've worked on them. Yeah, Katie, definitely. You should try it. What I suggest is you load up your brush a lot. Katie said she's never painted letters before. So you want a lot of paint on your brush. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like gobbed up. It's weird. A lot of times people do their lettering and they choose not to put a lot of paint on their brush, and that actually is because they're trying to make a thin line or be careful, but it actually makes it harder to make a smooth line. My line is not smooth right now because my paper is wrinkled, but this is giving me enough of an idea that I can practice. Okay, so I know I'm gonna have to make it a little smaller than this because I've just found out this is a little too tight. And so it'll be I, N, and then G. So this tells me, so I know I didn't finish the whole word really well, but this tells me that I can, whoopsies, that I can scooch my B over just a little bit and I can make it smaller. And then hopefully that'll squish together better. Twyla asked, did I make the paint thinner for lettering? I didn't, but I have done that before. The one downside to doing that is sometimes you don't get good coverage the first time over, and it's really not fun to paint letters twice, like to fill them in twice. So I don't always do that. I just tend to stick with a paint that is already very liquid and not too thick. Because if your paint is too thick, it does make your lettering hard. So, good point, Twyla. I think Twyla was maybe talking to Mom. Mom said she loves stencils and tracers, and she said me too. Yeah, this paint is already somewhat thin, so it's not too hard to work with. Okay, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to squish this B really close to the side and work on the line being nice and thin. B. I'm going to do thin line coming up. And a thin line coming down for the L. You guys who have watched me for a while know I get really quiet when I do lettering. Because I can't talk and do lettering at the same time. I'm always like, I'm going to misspell something. I did misspell something live. I can't remember what it was. It seems like it was when we were doing our Fruit of the Spirit. B-L-E. There comes Kitty. I might have even squished this too much, you guys. It's so smooth on this wood that I may not have even needed to squish it that much. I can always make it say blessings instead of blessing and just go with it. That would kind of work. My cat is trying to say hello. I'm not going to let her because she's intruding. Poor girl. She's like, Mama, you've been on live forever. Yes. Oh. Katie says I misspell something when I don't have to talk. Yeah, I can relate to that too. You're so funny. I normally miss. Okay, so B-L-E-S-S. It's like even the most basic words become really hard to spell when you're talking. So then I get super quiet, which is when you guys get to comment. So you guys should comment now because then I can follow up later. See, I have to like hold my mouth right. Are you making a porcelainer for me? I don't know, Mom. Do we have an extra porcelainer piece of wood? That's the question. This would make if you did this big, it would make a great porcelainer. Yeah, I think it's going to say blessings because I've squished it enough that it's going to have enough room for an extra letter. But that's a good problem to have. I'd rather it be too small than too big. And if I was really being particular, I would have traced this out ahead of time. I just wanted to get it done, basically, get it all in there. So I'm just going to go with it. Maybe I can just make the N and the G really big. That might work. So I'm going to do a fun little G. I like the G that comes around like this. Oops, I'm going to make it come around really big. And then it has that little tag like that. And then it sweeps down like a printed G. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like that. Irish blessing. I'll dot my little I. Probably is weird to have that kind of a B on there, but oh well. And I think I'll put make that a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll bring this tail all the way up. I feel like it needs something over here. I'll just bring that tail around like that. Perfect. So there's our little Irish blessing. It's kind of an interesting font, but you know, how do I keep the kitty out of the paint? I don't. She actually, if there's not enough room on the table, she can't get on the table. So strategy for today is to fill the table up enough that there's no room for her. Mom says Friday, please. I don't know, Mom. I have another thing scheduled for Friday, which is our art journaling, which we do every Friday. Now, if you guys don't know that I teach art journaling, we do a full art journal page every Friday. So if you want to follow along with those and get some inspiration for your own art journaling, that is when to tune in for sure. But then we do some other watercolors and different tips throughout the week on Monday and Wednesday. Paint over the half-painted one. Yeah, that might be an idea. Okay, so next thing I want to do, and then let's see, is this dry yet? That's not quite dry. Chalk paints, I have found they take a lot of time to dry, which is weird because they dry out fast. I don't know. I don't know why that's the case. But I do have this fun twine here. Oh, Katie says the journal club is a lot of fun. Thanks for saying that, Katie. I really am always happy to hear feedback. So I'm going to take this twine and add just a little detail. I'm like, this is going to be so cute. I brought the twine out, but I was like, maybe I'll use it. Maybe I won't. Now I'm like, I'm so glad I got the twine out. I didn't get the scissors out, though. Okay, let me grab my scissors. I always feel like I have all of my supplies until I get started and then I don't have them all. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Mom, I have everything scheduled, so I'm not sure. We'll have to figure something out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this so that I can have multiple layers of this twine like this. And so that means I'm going to cut it fairly long. So I'm going to cut, I want to give you guys like an estimate of how long it is. So I would say do the Nana measurement 1, 2, a little over 2 yards. That's probably way more than I need, but that's better than not having enough. So I'm going to wrap this around the bottom here. Some of these are super fuzzy. I don't know if I like that. I'm going to trim this just a little bit. Just a little. And now I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around like so. Just give it a, what do you call it? 3-dimensional element would be really fun. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be cute. I actually brought my hot glue out, but I may not even need it. We'll see. I might tack it down on the back with the hot glue. Okay, this is a little longer than it needs to be, obviously. But I'll tighten that up and see how it goes. Maybe one more layer. I might go around. Might not. Yeah, it does. Okay, so that gives us 3 wraps around. And I'm going to kind of let them sort of crisscross like this. And then bring these 2 toward the middle. And I want to tie them kind of off center because I know our thing is off center. If this is, well, that might be cute centered. I don't know. I can't decide. Should it be off center or should it be dead center? You guys tell me. Should I make this little bow? I'm going to tie a little bow and it can either be off center or totally centered. And while I wait for you guys to tell me that, I'm going to work on our little clover some more. So I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to add some of this lighter celery color. Where's my size 8 round? So I have a size 8 round brush. Oops, that needs to be mixed. I'm going to shake it up. Valerie says off center. Okay, I have a vote for off center. Yeah, I kind of like that idea too. All right. I'm going to use this lighter green and just paint. Ooh, wow. Oh, so pretty. I love this light color. I really, really like these colors by Waverly. You guys, they're just so sweet. Look at that. Just pops. So I'm going to do some light highlight type things around the clover, really wispy and faint because I don't want to overwhelm the shape, but I'm kind of going to let it sort of sweep in very faint like that, just kind of to, Katie says centered, just to be different. Mom says left of center, which is off center. Okay, 2 votes for off center, 1 vote for center. That's funny. Okay. If I don't hear any more feedback, so far we have the majority saying off center. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this little heart here. Wow, I was going to add teal. And I'm loving this so much like this. I don't know if I want to add teal. It's just so pretty on its own. Okay. I'm going to bring, so what I'm doing is I'm using an almost dry brush. And by using that almost dry brush, it really makes the lines soft and not harsh. And so I'm using that to kind of blend in the light green over top of the darker green. And I'm going to bring that up and around the circle shape, this arch, curve, whatever, on the top of the heart. That really just, this is so satisfying. This is like, I'm going to put myself to sleep. This is really soothing. I like this kind of soft color. And then just sweeping that up. I don't know if you guys can hear that. A lot of times it's funny. I was talking about this with our lettering actually last month, but just talking about the sound of the brush or the pen on the paper. It oftentimes will tell you things, and you only know like when you've really been working with it for a while, but you know when the brush sounds wet and when it sounds dry. And this has a nice sweepy sort of sound, and that's very, very satisfying because I know it's the right texture. It's going to come off the brush properly. Just has a different feel to it and a different sound. You don't think about your painting having a sound. Isn't that interesting? You kind of use all your senses when you're painting. Maybe not taste. I would not recommend you using your tasting sense when you're painting. I don't think it would taste very good. Just saying. But if you paint something beautiful, maybe you have good taste. Not the same kind of taste, I guess. Okay. I'm rambling because I'm not seeing comments. You guys have to say something to me so I don't say something weird, like what I just said. Okay, I just need to remind you guys not to do what I just did, which was put your brush in your jar. If you leave your brushes in your jar, you can ruin them. And I don't know why I did that. I normally don't. So I probably just was not thinking. So don't leave your brushes in your jar. Rinse them, clean them off, then dry them off and straighten the bristles and let them dry outside of the jar. Ew. Mom says, ew. Is that from like tasting the paint? Yeah, it would be nasty. Okay. I feel like, let's see, something to me. Thanks for saying something to me. That was very sweet. Okay, so I want to I'm actually using the screen to see what this looks like at a distance. That's so funny. I'm going to use the light green and go down the stem as well because I feel like the stem is not showing as much as I want it to. And I'm using this 8 round still, which shows you how much detail you can get away with even just a bigger brush. I'm going to bring these little points of the hearts closer in so they meet up with that little stem there. Like that. And this is looking so good like itself. I don't know I don't know if I want to do what I thought I wanted to do. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. Oh yeah, my teacup is really close to my jar. And so, yeah. And move it to the other side so that I don't do that. Okay, I think I had a vote for off center on the cord, so we're going to do that. Sorry, Katie, you'll have to do yours centered. What did I use to paint the background over the flower painting? So it's a little bit involved, so feel free to watch the replay, but the gist of it was I watered down some black and brown to distress the wood, and I also painted it a little heavier on top of the flower, but the wood is already that distressed color. And then I also used some watered down white and kind of rubbed it with a rag. That's kind of a quickie summary of what I did. I needed to put a little bit more over the flower because it was quite bright still. So yeah, it took a little bit more. Valerie says it's really cute. You have probably said, do these paints dry darker? You know, let's see. I think they do. This one for sure, this moss color did for sure dry. It dried more matte, which does not reflect as much light. So it looks darker when it dries. This one does look like it's drying a little darker as well. So I think probably yes. I don't know for sure on all the colors, but I hope that answers your question. Thanks, Valerie. Okay, yeah. And Katie, it's really fun to do that distressed texture. It's like, it's fun because you take a piece of wood that's perfectly fine and you distress it. and it they need to basically make this brand new piece of wood look super old, but it looks really great when you're done. I just love it. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bow right here. A cute little bow if I can get it to tighten up enough. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so there's my little bow. And then you could even put this bow up here. That would be really cute too. I'm going to stretch these little pieces of twine out so they stay up a little bit more. And then, oops, let me grab that one. So I'm basically like stretching them so they're tight. And that way they sit nicely long term. Not that I plan on like throwing this across the lawn or anything, but it's just like you go to store supplies or any kind of decor or whatever, and it tends to shift and not stay exactly like you want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to leave that kind of like that. And I do want to tack this into place with some hot glue. So I'm going to crank that down, make sure it's nice and tight. And then take a little bit of hot glue on the back of this knot, just straight down onto the wood, and not very much because I cannot stand hot glue showing. So I'm not going to take a lot. And then really carefully hold that down with a stick or anything that's not my finger so I don't burn my fingers. Hold that down. Oh, hope you guys can see that. Sorry. So I'm going to also glue the back of this. I'm going to hold this until it doesn't shift when I lift up the brush. Actually, I can probably hold this. And I'm going to add a tiny bit. I'm going to use a dry brush and a tiny little paintbrush and add a little bit of white to this. I think it needs to brighten up here. I'm going to add a little white to our clover while I'm waiting. I think it could use some brighter highlights. And what I'm doing is I'm drying the brush off. I'm getting a tiny bit onto my, let's see, can you see that? I'm getting a tiny bit onto my little teeny brush, and then I'm even drying that off so that it doesn't come off as a really dark line. This is so cute. Sorry guys, I don't mean to like be like, I love my thing, but I love it. I think it's really cute. Ah, I think it's gonna be so sweet. Really sweet. Okay. I also just really love distressed looking things that look kind of vintagey or whatever. Mom says, I have the perfect spot for them. What them do you mean? Do you mean this or what? I don't know what she's talking about. Okay. I don't know what she means. This just looks like it belongs in a little old Irish shop or something. Okay. These little highlights, see how faint they are? But they just brighten it up so much. They make it much easier to see than just the light green. Layering colors is so important when you're painting. And the nice thing about acrylic that is not true with watercolor is you can add your white back in. That's staying now, so I'm going to lift my hand up. And then add a little bit more of this. I'm using a really small brush because I don't want to risk putting too much white down. It doesn't need a lot, so I don't want to put a ton. Okay. Alrighty, let's do a little bit more. The great thing about using a distressed background when you're trying to cover something up is that the background doesn't have to be really perfect. You know, you're not needing a super smooth background or something like that. So if you guys missed that, I just grabbed a little bit of water because I'm spreading my white around with water. Sometimes that gives it more of a swishy effect, for lack of a better word. You guys that have been to my paint parties before know that I like to use the word swishy. I think it's a perfectly good art term. And so a lot of my paintings, because I like for them to have a, I don't know, loose kind of swishy sort of look. I don't know. I don't like them to be super crisp. I like them to be a little bit soft and blended in pretty well. And so I will use that word a lot. I will say it's good. It's got to be kind of swishy. That's what we're going for. We're going for swishy. And I'm like, hey, as long as you guys understand what I'm saying, it doesn't have to be a perfect art term, right? Right? I think so. Okay. So we're going to use a little bit more there. I'm just adding this as I feel like it needs more. And look how much that brightens that up. Looks a lot better. I think actually, Mom, I think I'm just going to lean this up against the wall because I think it's going to be part of my restroom decor. So I'm going to flip this and be real careful not to hurt the white that I've just added. So I might just lean it up against the thing for now. And I am going to take some hot glue and tack these edges in. Just kind of glue them down where I want them to stay so they don't shift too much. And back on the back here, it doesn't matter as much if more glue shows. So I'm going to use a little bit more glue so that it holds it in place. I want those to stay. And then I'm going to press them down with this paintbrush to hold the twine in place. Okay, and then I'm going to tack this one down. That's not exactly stuck down yet, but I'm going to get this glued while I'm thinking about it. So I'm just putting a little bit. It doesn't take a ton, but enough to hold it on the wood where I want it to sit. And now I'm going to hold it down with something that is not my finger so that it doesn't burn me. Hurt myself a lot with hot glue when I was little. Did you guys use hot glue when you were little? I decorate my bathroom for almost every holiday. More like, I think I would say for every season, because it's not always every holiday. Especially in the summer, it's like I just decorate it with flowers and leave it for 7 months or something. But I don't really have any St. Patrick's Day decor, so I thought it'd be fun to have some. That would be kind of different. Mom said she shared our Irish wall on the page. Nice. That's awesome. You guys, I don't know if you celebrate St. Patrick's Day or not, but we have so much decor. That's what I was talking about earlier. We have so much St. Patrick's Day decor that it always feels like St. Patrick's Day in our house because our name is Irish. Not just an Irish name, but literally Irish. And when you have a name like that, what do? That's all you can do. Okay, so that tacked that in place. I am so loving that I don't have to like look at the camera, look at you guys, look at this. I love that you can see what I'm doing. Also note that this has like a whole bunch of weird paint on the back of it too. That's because I think I even like practiced something on the back of this during a demonstration. So use what you have, use whatever wood you have. Nobody's going to see the back of this except everybody that just saw the back of this. But it's not going to matter when it's decor, so that's not going to really matter. Okay, I'm feeling like this could have something more to it. One thing I just want to see, because I want to know. Okay, I need to shake this up. I'm going to shake this a little more. Just want to see, because I want to know if this blue is crazy. I think it's going to throw it off if I try to use blue. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and trim this, which is kind of sad because most of my decor actually has blue in it. If you guys can think of a way to add blue, I could put a little bit of blue on the lettering, but I love the lettering like it is, so I don't know if I want to touch it. But anyway, a lot of times I have teal blue decor going on in my bathroom, and so I was going to try to do a teal like a teal type of color for the clover. But it's so cool like it is. I don't know if I want to touch it, so I think I'm going to just leave it like it is. All right, so that is our craft for today. If you guys liked that, please go ahead and share this video and tag anyone that you think would enjoy it. I really love to do some, let's see, Mom says audio. Are you still hearing me? Are we good? I think I'm unmuted. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. And if you did, please feel free to share it. It's been really, really fun to paint together and to do another acrylic painting, which I haven't done in a while. I also am going to go ahead and do some, like I said, some art journaling on Friday. So if you're interested in checking that out, let's go ahead and get together then and paint together. Jackie says, leave it as is. Good, good. Okay, I'll leave it just like this. All right. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. I think I covered everything. Oh, one more announcement. If you like this painting and you've seen some of the other paintings that I've done, I just want to announce to you guys that I am going to be offering an Easter paint party special. So back in Christmas, I announced that we had a special for if you host a paint party, you get to paint for free. And that is for these acrylic paintings that we can do in the home. And that's an in-person paint party. If you can't do an in-person paint party and you want to do a virtual paint party, feel free to let me know. But if you are local and you want to do a paint party for Easter or around that time, if you book it for any time between now and the end of April, you get to paint for free. And the only requirement is that you have a minimum of 9 paid painters. So that is the special that's going to be running really soon, and just message me to get on with that, and I'll be posting a little bit more about that too. But I hope you guys enjoyed this painting. If you paint something like this, please go ahead and share it. I'd love to see it. And in the meantime, God bless you guys. I will see you on Friday. Take care. Bye.